The silence in the command center broke as alarms blared. Captain June Park rushed to the main display where red dots appeared at the edge of the solar system. The Vraxian ships had arrived sooner than expected. "How many?" June asked, his voice steady despite the fear in his chest. Officer Day looked up from her station, face pale. 47 warships, sir. The biggest invasion fleet we've seen yet. Earth had been fighting the Vraxian Imperium for 3 years. The aliens had superior technology, more ships and weapons that could destroy entire cities. Humanity was losing badly. "General Kim is requesting your presence in Lab 12, said Officer Day. "They say it's urgent." Lab 12 was buried deep underground, protected from orbital strikes. As June entered, he saw General Kim standing next to Dr. Han, both looking at something massive covered by a tarp. "You're just in time, Captain," said General Kim. "Dr. Han is ready to show us our last hope." Dr. Han pulled away the tarp. Underneath stood a 15-meter-tall machine shaped like a human warrior. Its metal surface gleamed under the harsh lights. "We call it a Cataphracts," Dr. Han explained. "Named after ancient heavy cavalry. This is what will save humanity." June walked around the massive machine. "We've tried mechs before. The neural lag makes them too slow against Vraxian ships." Dr. Han smiled. "That's where our breakthrough happened. We discovered something unique about human brains. We can form neural connections with machines in ways the Vraxians can't." He led June to a small chamber inside the Cataphracts' chest. "The pilot sits here, connected directly to the machine systems. No lag. The Cataphract moves as if it's the pilot's own body." "How many do we have?" June asked. 5 complete units," said General Kim. 15 more under construction, and 20 pilots who passed the compatibility tests. 20 pilots out of thousands tested, Dr. Han added. "The neural connection is difficult. Most minds reject it." General Kim handed June a file. "Lieutenant Mina Lee scored highest on all tests. She'll pilot the first unit." Later that day, June met Mina in the training center. She was shorter than he expected, with determined eyes and a quiet confidence. "Are you ready for this responsibility?" June asked. Mina nodded. "My family was in Seoul when the Vraxians destroyed it. I've been ready since that day." The next morning, Mina entered the Cataphract for the first time. Technicians helped her into the neural interface chair as Dr. Han explained the process. "Your mind will join with the machine," he said. "It might feel strange at first. Many pilots report feeling like their body has grown to the size of the Cataphract." Mina settled into the chair. "I'm ready." The neural link activated. Mina gasped as her consciousness expanded. Suddenly she could feel the massive metal body, as if it were her own. She lifted one giant hand, watching in amazement as it responded to her thoughts. "Neural synchronization at 92%, a technician announced. "That's the highest we've ever recorded." 2 days later, sensors detected a Vraxian scout fleet approaching Mars. It was time to test the Cataphracts in real combat. 3 Cataphract units launched from Earth, accelerating toward Mars. Mina led the small team, with pilots Sue and Tae following close behind. "Remember your training." June's voice came through the comm. "The Vraxians don't know about the Cataphracts. Use the element of surprise." The Vraxian ships spotted the approaching Cataphracts, but didn't seem concerned. To them, the mechs looked like primitive technology, easy targets for their advanced weapons. When the first Vraxian ship fired, Mina reacted with impossible speed. The Cataphract moved as naturally as her own body, dodging the energy blast and closing the distance to the enemy vessel. "They're too fast," a Vraxian commander yelled as Mina's Cataphract tore through the hull of his ship. The battle lasted less than 15 minutes. 3 human Cataphracts destroyed 8 Vraxian warships without taking significant damage. For the first time since the war began, humanity had a clear victory. Back on Earth, the command center erupted in cheers when the Cataphracts returned. Mina stepped out of her unit, tired but smiling. "How did it feel?" June asked her. "Like dancing," Mina replied. "The machine responds to my thoughts faster than my own body would." General Kim addressed the gathered officers. Today marks a turning point. The Cataphracts have proven themselves. We'll accelerate production and training immediately. As June looked at the data from the battle, he felt hope for the first time in years. The Vraxians were still coming with their main fleet, but now humanity had a fighting chance. The real test is still ahead, Dr. Han said quietly. The Vraxians will adapt. They always do. Mina placed her hand on the foot of her Cataphracts. Then we'll adapt faster. That's what humans do best. Mina stood at the viewport of the space station, watching as Earth grew smaller in the distance. 6 weeks had passed since the first Cataphract victory. Now 15 units were operational, with 15 pilots ready for combat. The Vraxians won't underestimate us again, Captain June said, joining her. Their main battle fleet is approaching Proxima Centauri. Mina nodded. The scout ships had been easy targets. This would be different. 200 warships, June continued, against our 15 Cataphracts. The odds don't matter, Mina replied. What matters is that we protect Earth. The Cataphract carriers reached Proxima Centauri 3 days later. This star system had been a human colony until the Vraxians destroyed it a year ago. Now it would be a battleground. Pilot Sue approached Mina as they prepared for deployment. The Vraxians have new weapons, he said. They've been studying our fighting style. Then we'll show them something new, Mina answered. Inside her Cataphract, Mina felt the familiar rush as the neural link connected her mind to the machine. The synchronization was even stronger now. 97% according to Dr. Han's latest tests. The 15 Cataphracts launched from their carriers, spreading out in formation. Each pilot felt both fear and determination. Vraxian ships detected, came Tay's voice over the comm. They're moving into attack position. The first shots from the alien vessels lit up space. The Cataphracts dodged with their superhuman reflexes, but there were too many enemy ships. They're trying to separate us, Mina realized. Stay in pairs, don't let them isolate you. She watched as a Vraxian destroyer targeted Sue's Cataphract. Mina pushed her unit to maximum speed, reaching her friend just in time to deflect a shot. That would have destroyed him. Thanks, Sue said. Together, they tore through the destroyer's hull, causing it to explode. 2 hours into the battle, the humans had destroyed 12 Vraxian ships but lost 3 Cataphracts. The pilots were tiring. The neural link demanded intense concentration and mistakes meant death. We can't win this directly, Mina told the others. We need a new strategy. She studied the Vraxian formation. Their ships surrounded a central command vessel that coordinated their attacks. Follow me, she ordered. We're going for their command ship. 7 Cataphracts changed course, diving toward the heart of the Vraxian fleet. Enemy fire intensified, hitting 2 more human units. Keep going, Mina shouted, even as her own Cataphract took damage. Warning lights flashed inside her neural interface. The Vraxians realized their command ship was the target too late. Mina and 4 others reached it, attaching explosive charges to its hull before retreating. The explosion rippled through space. Without central coordination, the Vraxian fleet fell into chaos. Now, Mina ordered. The remaining Cataphracts attacked, the disorganized ships destroying 17 more before the Vraxians finally retreated. When the battle ended, only 6 Cataphracts remained operational. 9 pilots had died, but they had destroyed 37 Vraxian warships, a devastating blow to the alien fleet. Back at the human base, medical teams rushed to help the surviving pilots. The neural link left them physically and mentally exhausted. Doctor, Han examined Mina as she lay in the medical bay. Your neural patterns are unusual, he said, studying the readouts. During the most intense moments of battle, your synchronization with the Cataphract reached 99%. I felt different, Mina admitted. When I saw Sue in danger, something changed. It was like the machine became truly part of me. Dr. Han looked thoughtful. The other pilots showed similar patterns. It seemed strong emotions, fear, anger, the desire to protect. They strengthened the neural connection instead of disrupting it. Captain June entered the medical bay, his face showing both pride and concern. You turned the tide today, but at a great cost. We need more pilots, Mina said. and we need to understand why some of us can connect with the Cataphracts better than others. Already working on it, June replied. The testing program has been expanded. We've found 30 new candidates with potential. Later that night, Mina sat alone in the observation deck watching the stars. Her body ached from the battle, and her mind kept returning to the pilots who didn't come back. Sue found her there. "You saved my life today," he said quietly. "We saved each other," Mina replied. "That's how we'll win this war, not just with technology but with our connections, to the machines, and to each other." The next morning, reports arrived of Vraxian forces regrouping. Their main fleet was damaged but still powerful. "They're adapting to our tactics," June told the pilots. "Their ships now carry short-range weapons designed specifically to target Cataphracts." Mina stood before the remaining pilots and the new recruits. "Then we adapt faster. Humanity has always been good at that. We'll find new ways to fight that they can't predict." As the new pilots began their training, Dr. Han continued studying the neural data from the battle. What he discovered gave him hope. Something uniquely human was turning the tide of the war, something the Vraxians could never duplicate. The Vraxian Supreme Commander Tak slammed his fist on the table, sending star charts floating through the holographic display. His officers stood silently, afraid to speak. "Explain to me," Tak growled, "how primitive humans and their crude machines have destroyed 45 of our warships in 2 months." Admiral Wren, the fleet's chief tactician, stepped forward. "The human machines, these Cataphracts, move with impossible speed. Our targeting systems cannot track them effectively." "That is not an explanation," Tak shouted. "Our technology is superior. Our warriors train from birth, yet these humans defeat us." In a laboratory far away on Earth, Dr. Han made an important discovery. He rushed to find Captain June, who was observing the training of new Cataphract pilots. "I've figured it out," Dr. Han said excitedly, showing June his data tablet. "Look at these neural patterns from Mina and the other top pilots." June studied the complex diagrams. "What am I seeing?" "The secret to their success," Dr. Han explained. "Most alien species, including the Vraxians, separate logical thinking from emotional responses. Their brains work in distinct regions, but humans, our emotions and logic are interconnected. And this helps with the Cataphracts. How?" June asked. "When our pilots feel strong emotions, fear, determination, the need to protect others, it doesn't interfere with their control of the machine. Instead, it enhances it. The neural link becomes stronger." June's eyes widened with understanding. "The very thing the Vraxians see as our weakness, our emotional nature, is actually our advantage." In the training center, Mina worked with the new pilots. 20 had passed the initial neural compatibility tests. Among them were Sue, who had fought in the battle at Proxima Centauri, and 2 newcomers who showed great promise, Jin and Huan. "The Cataphract is not just a weapon," Mina told them. "It becomes part of you. Your thoughts, your instincts, even your feelings flow into the machine." Jin raised her hand. "The instructors told us to stay calm during combat, to control our emotions." Mina smiled. "That's what we thought at first. We were wrong. Your emotions make you stronger, not weaker. When I fought to save my fellow pilots, my connection to the Cataphract became more powerful than ever." As the pilots trained, intelligence reports arrived about Vraxian movements. Their fleet was gathering near Tau Ceti, where they had established a major supply depot. "They're preparing for another attack on Earth," June told the military council. "But they need to resupply first. This gives us an opportunity." General Kim looked skeptical. "Attack their supply depot? That's deep in their territory. It would be suicide." "Not if we use the Cataphracts in a way they won't expect," June argued. "A small team, moving fast. In and out before they can respond." 3 days later, 10 Cataphracts launched toward Tau Ceti. Mina led the mission, with Sue, Jin, and Huan among the pilots. "Remember," Mina told them as they approached, "the Vraxians fight according to strict battle plans. They expect us to do the same. But humans are unpredictable. That's our strength. The plan was daring. Sue would lead 5 Cataphracts in a direct assault on the Vraxian patrol ships, drawing attention away from the depot. Meanwhile, Mina would take Jin, Juan, and 2 others to destroy the supplies the Vraxian fleet needed. Begin the diversion. Mina ordered when they reached the edge of the system. Sue's team accelerated toward the patrol ships, weapons firing. Alarms blared across the Vraxian base as they scrambled to respond to the attack. While the Vraxians focused on Sue's team, Mina led her group on a different path. They slipped past the outer defenses, approaching the massive supply depot from below. They still don't see us, Jin reported, checking her sensors. Now comes the hard part, Mina said. We have 15 minutes to plant the charges and get out. The Cataphracts landed on the depot's outer hull. The pilots worked quickly, attaching explosive devices at key structural points. Patrol ship approaching, Juan warned. They've spotted us. Mina made a quick decision. Jin, Juan, finish planting the charges. I'll distract the patrol. Her Cataphract pushed off from the depot, drawing the Vraxian ship's fire. As she dodged their attacks, she felt that familiar sensation, her connection to the machine strengthening as her determination grew. On the depot, Jin and Juan completed their task. Charges set, Jin called. Let's go. The 5 Cataphracts regrouped and accelerated away from the depot. Behind them, explosions began to ripple across the massive structure. Sue, disengage and retreat, Mina ordered. Mission accomplished. As they fled the system, the supply depot collapsed in a spectacular series of explosions. Without those supplies, the Vraxian attack on Earth would be delayed by months. Back in his command center, Supreme Commander Tak received the news of the raid. His rage was cold now, more dangerous than his earlier outbursts. Study everything about these humans, he ordered his scientists. Find the source of their power. There must be a way to defeat them. One scientist spoke hesitantly. Commander, we've been analyzing their neural patterns. There's something unusual about how they connect to their machines, something we don't fully understand. Then learn to understand it, Tak commanded. The fate of our empire depends on it. 6 months had passed since the raid on the Vraxian supply depot. Earth now had 30 operational Cataphracts and well-trained pilots. The war had reached a stalemate, with neither side able to gain a clear advantage. In the command center, Intelligence Officer Jun delivered troubling news to Captain Jun and the Cataphract pilots. The Vraxian Emperor has committed the Imperial. Guard to the fight, Jun said, showing images of massive black warships. These are their elite forces, never deployed except in the most critical battles. Mina studied the images. How many ships? 50 Imperial Guard vessels plus 100 regular warships, Jun replied. They're heading toward Alpha Centauri. The room fell silent. Alpha Centauri was the location of humanity's largest off-Earth colony. 2 million people lived there. We can't let them take Alpha Centauri, Jun said firmly. We must make our stand there. The next day, all 30 Cataphracts prepared for deployment. Pilots checked their systems and said quiet goodbyes to friends. Everyone knew this would be the hardest battle yet. Mina found Sue staring at a photo of his family. Nervous? She asked. Realistic, he answered. The Imperial Guard has never lost a battle. Then they've never faced Cataphracts, Mina said, with a confidence she didn't entirely feel. Before boarding their units, Dr. Han gathered the pilots. We've made improvements to the neural interface, he explained. It should allow for deeper synchronization with your Cataphracts. But be careful. The deeper the connection, the more strain on your mind and body. The human fleet arrived at Alpha Centauri 3 days before the Vraxians. This gave them time to evacuate civilians and prepare defenses. The 30 Cataphracts would be supported by 40 human warships, all that could be spared from Earth's defense. When the Vraxian fleet emerged from hyperspace, the battle began immediately. The Imperial Guard ships moved with precision that regular Vraxian vessels lacked. They're faster than the others, Jin reported as she narrowly avoided enemy fire. And their weapons are stronger. Mina led her squad against a group of Imperial Guard ships. The enhanced neural interface made her Cataphract respond even more quickly to her thoughts, but she could feel the strain on her body. Focus on the command ships, she ordered, just like at Proxima Centauri. But the Vraxians had learned from past defeats. Their command vessels stayed in the center of the formation, protected by rings of warships. The battle raged for hours. 10 Cataphracts were destroyed in the first day, along with 15 human warships. The Vraxians lost 30 vessels but still had overwhelming numbers. That night, the surviving pilots met to develop a new strategy. "Their formation is too strong to break through directly," Sue said, pointing to the holographic display of the battlefield. Juan, who had been studying Vraxian tactics, noticed something. "They always maintain perfect formation, even when it would be more effective to adapt." "That's it," Mina realized. "They value order above all else. We need to create chaos." The next morning, the Cataphracts deployed with a new plan. Instead of attacking in formation, they scattered across the battlefield, each pilot acting independently and unpredictably. "This is madness," a Vraxian commander complained as his gunners failed to track the erratic movements of the human machines. The Imperial Guard ships maintained their disciplined formation, even as the Cataphracts darted between them, causing confusion and friendly fire incidents. By the end of the second day, both sides had taken heavy losses. Only 16 Cataphracts remained, and the pilots were exhausted from the neural strain, but the Vraxians had lost over half their fleet. On the third day, Supreme Commander Tak arrived to take personal command of the battle. He brought with him a special weapon, a massive cannon capable of destroying a Cataphract with a single shot. "The humans have fought well," Tak announced to his officers, "but today their resistance ends." The cannon fired at Sue's Cataphract, but Mina pushed him out of the way, taking a glancing hit that severely damaged her unit. "My systems are failing," she reported, her voice strained from the neural feedback of the damage. "But I can still move." Captain June's voice came through the comm. "Mina, return to the carrier for repairs." "Negative," she replied. "I see an opportunity." While the Vraxians focused on the other Cataphracts, Mina pushed her damaged unit toward Tak's flagship, where the cannon was mounted. "Some battles require sacrifice," she said quietly. Her Cataphract accelerated to maximum speed, aiming directly for the cannon. Vraxian gunners fired desperately, causing more damage to her unit but couldn't stop her approach. The impact was tremendous. Mina's Cataphract crashed into the cannon, destroying it and creating a massive breach in the flagship's hull. "Now!" Sue shouted to the other pilots. "For Mina!" The remaining Cataphracts converged on the damaged flagship. Without the cannon's protection, they tore through its defenses and reached the command center. Supreme Commander Tak watched in disbelief as human machines broke through the hull of his supposedly impregnable vessel. For the first time in its history, the Imperial Guard was defeated. When the battle ended, the Vraxian fleet retreated. 17 human warships remained, along with 11 Cataphracts. The colony at Alpha Centauri was saved. In the wreckage of the Vraxian flagship, search teams found Mina's Cataphract. The machine was destroyed beyond repair, but inside the crushed command pod, Mina still lived, barely. "She shouldn't have survived that impact," Dr. Hahn said as medical teams rushed her to emergency care. Her connection to the Cataphract must have been complete at the end. She felt its destruction as her own, but somehow held on. As news of the victory spread, humanity celebrated. For the first time, they had defeated the Vraxian Imperial Guard. The tide of the war had turned. 2 years after the Battle of Alpha Centauri, Admiral June Park stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. Around him were representatives from 30 alien civilizations. At the center of the hall stood the Vraxian Emperor, surrounded by his advisors. "The war between the Vraxian Imperium and Earth has caused great suffering," said the Council Elder, an ancient being from a species that had achieved space travel before humans discovered fire. "Today we witness its end." June stepped forward, the Cataphract insignia shining on his uniform. He carried the weight of all who had died in the war, including many of the original Cataphract pilots. "Humanity accepts peace with the Vraxian people," June stated, his voice clear and strong. "We seek not dominance, but cooperation among the stars." The Vraxian Emperor looked older than in the recordings June had seen during the war. The defeat of his Imperial Guard and the loss of a third of his empire's territory had taken its toll. The Vraxian Imperium recognizes Earth and its colonies as sovereign territory, the Emperor said. We will respect the boundaries established in this treaty. As the leaders signed the peace agreement, June thought about how much had changed. 3 years ago, humanity had been on the verge of extinction. Now they were recognized as equals by the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. Back on Earth, Dr. Han continued his research in a new facility, built specifically for studying the Cataphracts technology. The war had accelerated human scientific progress by decades. The neural interface is the key, he explained to a group of scientists from other worlds. Humans have a unique ability to form deep connections with machines because our logical and emotional brain functions are intertwined. Several alien species had attempted to create their own versions of Cataphracts, but none had achieved the same results. The human capacity for intuitive thinking, creative problem-solving, and emotional response created a synergy with the machines that other species couldn't replicate. In a rehabilitation center near the research facility, Mina Lee sat in a garden, watching younger pilots train. Her body still showed the scars from her sacrifice at Alpha Centauri. After months in critical condition, she had survived but would never pilot a Cataphracts again. Sue visited her often. He had become commander of the Cataphracts Corps after the HFY War, responsible for training new pilots. The recruits are getting better, he told her, sitting beside her wheelchair, but none of them have your natural ability. Mina smiled. They don't need to be me. They just need to be themselves. That's what the Vraxians never understood. Our individuality is our strength. Across the solar system, Cataphracts that had once been weapons of war now served as construction machines, helping to rebuild colonies and establish new ones. The neural interface technology had been adapted for medical use, allowing people with paralysis to walk again using exoskeletons controlled by thought. On the anniversary of the war's end, a memorial was unveiled in Geneva. It listed the names of all who had died in the conflict, with the Cataphracts pilots given a special place of honor. Mina's name had been included initially before they discovered she had survived. They should have kept it there, she joked to Juan, who had come to see the ceremony. I left most of myself on that battlefield anyway. You left enough to inspire generations, Juan replied seriously. The Cataphracts saved humanity, but it was pilots like you who showed us what humanity means. In the years that followed, Earth became a center for interspecies cooperation. The Galactic Council established a permanent embassy there, recognizing humanity's unique perspective and problem-solving abilities. Other species studied human neural patterns, trying to understand what made humans different. Some feared it, calling humans unpredictable and dangerous. Others admired it, seeing the potential for growth and innovation. 5 years after the peace treaty, a Vraxian diplomatic ship arrived at Earth. Its mission was to establish formal relations between the former enemies. Among the diplomats was a young Vraxian scientist named Kel, who had specifically requested the assignment. Kel met with Dr. Han and Mina, who now worked as an advisor to the research team despite her injuries. During the war, I analyzed the data from Cataphracts encounters, Kel explained. I could never understand how your machines moved with such feeling. That's exactly it, Mina said. Feeling. The Vraxian military saw emotions as a weakness to be controlled. We discovered they were our greatest strength. Dr. Han showed Kel the latest neural interface designs. We're developing new applications for peaceful purposes. Medical technology, deep space exploration, environmental restoration. As the sun set over the research center, Mina watched a new group of Cataphracts pilots training. They would never know war as she had, but they would carry forward the legacy of what humans had learned about themselves. The Vraxians thought they were facing a primitive species with crude weapons, Mina told Kel as they observed the training. What they actually faced was humanity's oldest truth. Our hearts and minds work best when they work together. In orbit above Earth, a Cataphracts unit helped assemble a new space station. Its pilot, a young woman named Yoon, felt the familiar rush as her consciousness merged with the machine. The neural link that had once been humanity's last defense was now building their future among the stars.